Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. You know, Stephen A. Smith is something else. I be trying to like Stephen A. Smith, bro, but some of the stuff just be... I'm going to just say it. This is completely unrelated, but I just still can't believe that there are people that actually take Stephen A. Smith seriously with his political commentary. I just really can't believe it. Stephen A. Smith, I watched his last video on what's going on with the riots in LA because of the deportations and the chaos that's taking place there. I watched the last video of Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith is the only independent, right, who is in the center, that always attacks the left, right? Always attacks the left, but he's in the middle. Always agrees with the right, but he's a centrist. It's like, bro, if you're a Democrat, be a Democrat. If you're a Republican, be a Republican. But this thing of, oh, I'm in the middle, but you're only attacking one side, I just think it's ridiculous to me. The part that annoys me is that, not that I think that he's on the right or he's on the left. The part is that he refuses to take a side, and then always all of his commentary is skewed in one way, but then pretends like, oh, I'm in the middle. Nah, you're not in the middle, bro. Stop playing with people. You're not in the middle. You're clearly on the right. So be on the right and own it. Stop being I'm over here, but I don't like what they're doing. No, you're not. Nobody's taking you seriously. And look, and I'm going to say this, and I truly believe this. I can't believe that people actually listen to Stephen A. Smith's political views. The only people that platform Stephen A. Smith are people on the right. Nobody else platforms him. So obviously they platform you because they feel, okay, we share similar views. So why don't you just accept it? What's this thing of, oh, no, I'm not on the right. I'm in the middle, but then always attacking the left. Just say nothing will happen. Nobody's going to come after you and say, oh, this and this, but to constantly act like I'm in the middle. No, it's just say you're on the right. Like, enough is enough, man. Just say that and let that be that. What's going to change? Nobody cares. If you're a Republican or Democrat, who cares? But this thing of, oh, I'm over here and I'm over there. Man, stop. Stop. If you're an independent, your commentary can always be skewed in one direction. It doesn't make any sense, right? Or centrist, however you want to describe yourself. Sorry for my rant. Anyway. Well, one of the reasons why, the political thing is because of the LeBron stuff. But anyway, as you guys know, Stephen A. Smith just recently had a big back and forth with him and LeBron James, right? It was really messy, really, really messy. And I've noticed something about Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith has this thing where if any little word is said about him, any little comment, even if it's not explicit, where they're actually saying his name, he always jumps on his show or on ESPN to go and fight with these people. That's what he always does. But then turns around and calls these athletes sensitive. That's just a kicker. They're sensitive but you are the one that in any little thing is said, whether they say your name or not, you now go off on this rant and start going off. Where am I getting at? I came across some sound here this morning from the locker room. He was talking about, that really wasn't what he was talking. He was talking about other things, but he played this sound. And apparently what happened was Tyrese Halliburton spoke to the media. And he was talking about some of the people in sports media who don't really seem to know what the hell they're talking about. Stephen A. Smith now takes it as an offense and assumes that he's talking about him, even though he didn't say his name. And decides to go on this rant where he started attacking Tyrese Halliburton on a panel with the Marcus brothers and Jay Williams and Molly Karam. And as I'm sitting there, I'm saying to myself, bro, when are you going to stop with this behavior, man? When does it end? You're always fighting with somebody, with these athletes. And in this case, he didn't even say, and then at the end, you're going to call the guy sensitive. But you're the one that's always sensitive and reacting to things. It's just unbelievable to me. So what we want to do is want to play exactly what Stephen A. Smith had to say about Tyrese Halliburton, who did not say anything about him. And then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to Stephen A. Smith here.
That's a very ignorant statement on his part. You know what I'm saying? It is. First of all, let me be very, very clear. That's a very ignorant thing on his part. Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, Shaq, y'all, you, others, Kendrick Perkins.
I know. We all know.
I'm just saying. So what do you mean? Cats don't know. That's the media. That's who you talking about. Now you talking about me. I'm the guy that wanted him drafted by the New York Knicks. I'm the guy that said that the players were wrong to label him overrated. Did you remember that? So I give him credit. He was smart enough not to mention my name because he was assuming. Because had he mentioned me, I'd go in deeper, but I won't. What I will say to you is this.
LeBron fan.
In the end, it just amazes me how cats can be sometimes. Win the damn chip, bro. Win the damn chip. Because the first 2 games of this NBA Finals Series, you had your moment with 0.3 seconds left. Other than that, you didn't play well. And Shea Gilgeous was giving it to y'all. He was averaging 36 coming into the game, reigning league MVP. That ain't on me. That's on you. You know, and oh, by the way, just in case he was talking about me, my brother, I'm not going away.
No, you're not.
I'm going to be here for a while.
Shut your bitch ass up.
I'm going to be here for a while. So next year, and the year after that, and the year after that, and the year after that, I'm going to be here. And players far more accomplished and far more superior have made their efforts trying to call me out. How has that worked out?
When your eyes get soft like that, I get really worried. By the way, I'm really proud of you. You handled that very well. You handled that very well. You handled that very well, big bro. I'm going to give you credit for that.
That's all I'm going to say. I don't get the beauty of me. You know, unfortunately, a lot of guys aren't lucky and as fortunate as I am from this standpoint. They have to talk to you. I don't get paid to talk to you. I get paid to talk about you. So whether I speak to them or not or whatever it is, you don't stop this train.
Yeah, the train keeps moving.
And last thing,
it's a locomotive.
And last thing, it is a locomotive because, you know, we've been number 1 for 13 straight years.
So you heard what he had to say. What am I bro? This gotta stop. This is becoming ridiculous. Yo, Stephen A. Smith responds to more subliminals than rappers, bro. Than rappers. And the part that kills me is he gets upset that people go at him, but the minute they go at him, he runs to his show and does an entire show about it. And I think that this is the thing LeBron was saying. The guy is acting offended, but then you know damn well you're happy about it because it's going to give you something to go back and forth with about people. We know it. Stephen A. Smith he gets offended that people talk about him, right? But then if anybody says any little thing about him, he's always doing a show about it. There's no such thing as I'm going to ignore this. Nothing. And it's like it's becoming embarrassing now that you're constantly picking fights with NBA players. It's getting to the point now where it's embarrassing. Because now it's ridiculous. Because in that sound, Halliburton didn't even say your name. Maybe you felt triggered by it because of some of the things that you said. But does that give you the warrant, the license to now go on that rant about him? Really? Was that even necessary? And then you call him sensitive? You call him sensitive? Nah, bro. There gotta be a limit to this, bro. There gotta be a limit to this. Any little thing that said, he gonna do a show about any little thing that said. And the reason I think is because he likes the attention. I think Stephen A. Smith likes the attention. I really believe so. I think he likes the fact that these people are calling him out because it's like, man, they calling out me. I'm Stephen A. Smith. They calling me out. So I got to respond to them. That's what the whole thing is about. And sometimes I'm with him, but then sometimes it's just so petty, bro. It's like, bro, it's so petty. You don't think he's a superstar. He's calling out people that may feel he's not that dude. Yeah, maybe some former players said it and he said, but people in the media too. But did you really have to go at him like that? Was that necessary? Was that necessary? And then Kevin Durant says one or some other guy says 1 or 2 lines about you, you flaring up? Bro, come on, man. Like, you got to let some of that go, man. Like, it's not every little thing you got to respond to and fight with these guys over. These are just... So, depending on the order in which you're seeing today's shows, we already talked about some concerns that people like Kenny Smith, Charles Barkley have with going to work at ESPN. The uncertainty around that, I've spoken about that. But the real big name that made a splash about 2 years ago was Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee had arguably the biggest sports independent show. I think originally he was with FanDuel. I think he signed a $120 million deal, if I'm not mistaken. He broke off that deal to go sign with ESPN, who was paying him $80 million. And it was a very big deal at the time, right? It was a very big deal at the time to getting Pat McAfee. But at the time, there was something that was understood about Pat McAfee. Number one, it was a very unfiltered show. Guys are going on there. They're going to be on there saying what they believe. They're going to swear if they have to. And a lot of people, when the news initially came out that Pat McAfee was joining ESPN, people were like, Pat just ruined his entire show, because they felt like ESPN in some way, shape, or form was going to find a way to screw it up for him. So he went there. Things started off a little shaky at the beginning, but then things kind of leveled out. And then he had a moment where he was having some issues with some executives working at the network. That made some headlines. Things kind of simmered down. He recently did a very big interview when he brought on LeBron James to a show that created a lot of waves. Stephen A. Smith responded to some of the stuff that LeBron James said there. So this morning, we were just looking for what to discuss, and I came across some news here with the following headline saying, Pat McAfee addresses the Athletics report on ESPN status, calls out rat reporter and dinosaur execs. And I'm like, well, and the beat goes on to the last dance. Okay, so let's get into what this report had to say. It says, when Pat McAfee is in the news, it's a virtual guarantee that he will address the report. The ESPN and WWE star wasted no time Thursday responding to the latest piece from Andrew Marchand at The Athletic, calling the sports media reporter a rat. Early in the first hour of the Pat McAfee show, he referenced it during a segment with NFL insider Adam Schefter. To close the show, McAfee also went on an extended rant towards Marchand and the reports sources in Bristol. Listen to this. Speaking of an update, I learned a lot about my business this morning in another article, McAfee said, which has been great news. Seems like this happens all the time. I don't know if it's just normal, par for the course. I guess it's just life these days. There's so many of it's hard to keep track of. But when the rat writes something, it is nice to just be like, well, that's BS immediately. McAfee then moved into a conversation with Schefter, who was also a subject of Marchand's article. While welcoming the NFL insider for the first time since March 4th, McAfee borrowed Marchand's wording to introduce Schefter as the banned man. One focus of Marchand's article was the unofficial ban of Schefter from the Pat McAfee show in favor of NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport, a longtime friend of the show before its move to ESPN. As McAfee wrapped up his interview with Schefter, he dropped another allusion to the Athletics piece. Tell Seth we know, McAfee said, in what might be a reference to ESPN Vice President of Production, Seth Markman. In the waning moments of his show, after it was no longer being broadcast on ESPN, McAfee dug even further on Marchand and the dinosaurs at the worldwide leader, who have presumably leaked news about him to reporters since his arrival on ESPN's airwaves in September 2023. McAfee has also publicly thanked ESPN content head Burke Magnus, who was quoted in Marchand's piece, staunchly defending him. All these people that talk about our business are very interesting, because in a lot of situations, and this is going to sound narcissistic, there's only one person who has the answer, and that would be me, McAfee said. And if I don't talk to this effing guy, so how would he ever know? And the beat just kept on going on and on and on and on and on. I must say this. I think Pat McAfee has more freedom to go at ESPN than even Stephen A. Smith does. Really. I have never heard Stephen A. Smith speak in this way about anybody working at ESPN. Now, I think it's different. Stephen A. Smith seems to be a company man. Like, he is ESPN through and through, right? If ESPN was a country, he'll be a nationalist of that country for ESPN. Whereas Pat McAfee was an insider that came into the fold. So he has a totally different outlook on this. He came in with his own value. He was able to get a lucrative contract with them. So in his eyes, I think he's like, bro, you know, I came in here with something. I'm protecting something. I know what our value is, and we're not going to stand for any of this nonsense. Whereas Stephen A. Smith is the unquestioned face of the network, so you're never going to really see him go at ESPN like that, at the executives or anything, especially if he has any disputes. And if he does, none of it will ever be public. Now, we also know that Stephen A. Smith wanted to be the number one paid analyst, or whatever you want to call it, personality at the network, right? And reports were he was bothered that Pat McAfee got a bigger contract than him. And for him, it was about him landing the biggest contract and ESPN signaling, not only to him, but to all of the other people out there, that this is our number one guy. So that $100 million contract, yes, he wanted the money, but he also wanted to send the message. What are my thoughts about this? I don't think it's going to stop. I think this is who Pat McAfee is. If he has any issues with people at ESPN, he's going to voice them, as he has in the past. And this is what they signed up for. Obviously, he must be bringing a significant amount of value for them to tolerate it, right? He must be, because for them to continue to tolerate him calling out various people and, you know, doing things the way that he does, they must love it, right? I have no issue with him because I don't watch his show anyway. I'm not into NFL like that. But hey, let's get into a topic, man. Listen. Let me tell y'all how I feel about this. I feel like Nostradamus. For those of y'all who followed our channel for, let's say, 2.5 years ago, you guys know I was foreshadowing the fallout between Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless. Y'all know it. I used to talk about it periodically. I would talk about the fact that whenever they would start off the show, Shannon would always be the first one to reach across the desk to shake Skip's hand. Skip would do. People are like, oh, no, they're acting. It's a movie. It's a motion picture. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, nah, I don't think so. I ended up being right about that. And I'm telling you guys, I have a feeling that this thing may end up not working out. What am I referring to? As y'all know, Inside the NBA just concluded its final season on TNT. Right? After being on TV for probably, 2 decades now. They were on TV for a very long time. Initially started off with Kenny Smith and then Ernie, then Charles came on, then Shaq came on. Then you had various guest appearances like Chris Webber and then now contemporary guys like Vince Carter, Draymond Green, Tracy McGrady at one point had been on there, Jalen Rose at one point had been on there. So just a bunch of different guys. But the core of that show is Charles, Ernie, Kenny, and Shaq, right? Those guys are the ones, right? So we got the news that eventually we're going to be joining ESPN. Essentially, ESPN is going to be licensing the show. We obviously don't know what time they're going to be doing the show and all of that. And people like myself were a little bit trepidatious of this because we know ESPN. ESPN loves to twerk. This is what they do on a daily basis. And I'm like, I'm not sure how this is going to work, given the way Charles has always criticized ESPN on Inside the NBA. He's called them guys a bunch of damn fools for always saying that the Lakers would be better than what they actually are. And I'm like, I don't see this thing being as smooth as some people think it's going to be. So this morning, just looking for what to discuss, and I came across a report here with the following headline: Charles Barkley concerned about move to ESPN. We just don't know. And I'm like, aha. I'm telling you guys, I'm telling y'all right now, mark the date. It is June 13th, 2025. This thing ain't going to be as smooth as you guys think it's going to be. All right, so let's get into what this report had to say here. It says the following: Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, and Shaquille O'Neal continue to be asked about ESPN, and one feeling that keeps emerging about the new partnership is concern. Barkley recently joined sports radio hosts Nick and Chris Domino on 680 The Fan in Atlanta, where he was asked about Inside the NBA's looming move to the worldwide leader next season. With Warner Brothers Discovery losing NBA rights for TNT, Barkley, O'Neal, Smith, and Ernie Johnson will continue their popular studio show through a licensing agreement with ESPN. TNT will produce the show in Atlanta, but it will air on ESPN and ABC. While ESPN won't have any editorial control over Inside the NBA, everyone remains interested in seeing how the partnership plays out, particularly with the talent involved. Smith recently admitted that he was uncomfortable with the move. O'Neal has also said he is concerned about going to ESPN, and Barkley is echoing the sentiment. We're all concerned. I'm not going to lie to you, Barkley said on the show, because we just don't know. So I wish I could give you a definite answer, but we made the move and we're going to see it. Like I said, it's going to be cool working for ESPN. ESPN, the most famous network in the world of sports, and it's going to be an honor to work there. The licensing agreement with ESPN was announced last November. It's one thing for Barkley, Shaq, and Smith to have concerns and discomfort about the move in the immediate weeks and months after it was announced, but the uneasiness has continued even after they've met with both TNT Sports and ESPN to discuss how the agreement will work. One concern remains the potential workload, even though Inside the NBA will air on ESPN and ABC significantly less frequently than it has on TNT. Barkley said he is willing to appear remotely on ESPN studio shows, as he has in the past with Get Up or even First Take, but just because he does one show doesn't mean he's going to do all of them in a given day or week. They've been trying to get me my entire career, Barkley said of ESPN, but I made a great decision going to Turner because it's amazing. And despite Inside the NBA airing on ESPN, Barkley and crew will remain employees of TNT Sports, but it's not TNT Sports of old. Our company is not the same, Barkley said of Turner. We have two mergers that basically just sucked. It sucked, plain and simple. We fired everybody the last two times. So our company has changed dramatically. Those changes have continued this week with Warner Brothers Discovery splitting into two companies in a move that essentially leaves TNT Sports on a stranded island. While Barkley continues to seem discontent about the move to ESPN, he should at least take some solace in knowing Inside the NBA has the support of a more stable network. So you heard what Charles Barkley had to say. He's talking about how some of the things will work in the background, and essentially how these shows are going to work. Charles has made it crystal clear that he's not going to be up there working like a damn slave. And I totally understand it. I'm going to tell you why. Number one, Charles, I believe, is 60 or close to 60 years old. At that point, man, ain't nobody be out there trying to work like a damn racehorse at that stage in your life, especially when you're financially secure. At that point in time, people are enjoying themselves. Let me give you guys an example of what I'm talking about. I think Michael Jordan just turned 60. And do you know what? I saw a footage of him on TikTok. He was in some island with his wife and himself and maybe his people that are usually around him. And it's like every time I see Michael Jordan, every time I see him, he's somewhere relaxing. There's obviously the footage of him in Portugal. The guy tried to take a picture with him. He had an Adidas shirt. Jordan refused to take a picture. I'm like, bro, dude, just take off your shirt. Like, I'm confused. Take off your shirt. Flip it inside out. Whatever. Let the guy stand next to you, borrow his shirt, take a picture of him. You meant that much to you to keep on an Adidas shirt. But what I'm saying is Jordan always seems to be somewhere enjoying himself. And that's usually what people in their 60s do when they've made a lot of money. Yeah, they work, but they want to enjoy themselves. So Charles saying, look, you guys are not going to be out here stressing me and all of this. These people are grandparents. What do you think? They're going to be in the studio running up and down, hollering and screaming all week long? No, if they can help it, they won't do it. So I totally get them on that from that vantage point. The next point, and the part where I think things may go awry, is just because of how ESPN tends to do its job with the messaging and all of that. And then you bring in a guy like Charles Barkley with his candor. Imagine Charles Barkley on a segment on Get Up or First Take where you have an entire panel up there twerking. And then you have Charles Barkley coming out there just saying, you guys are just basically a bunch of idiots and y'all don't know what y'all talking. That could be contentious at times. It could even make things awkward because ESPN twerks. So don't forget it. They always twerk. And when you have a person like that, a personality like Charles, who doesn't feel like, oh, this is my job, I have to hold on to who's basically like, y'all can do whatever the hell y'all want. I'm a made man. I don't care. Which is something I respect about Charles because there are a lot of people that are millionaires talking sports and they don't have that same courage. They are millionaires, millions and millions in the bank, and you can never get an honest opinion out of them. They're always thinking, if I say this, how would that guy interpret? Like, bro, just give your bloody opinion and let that be that, right? So I think there's going to be some friction there. I'm not hoping for it, but I think it's going to be. I think we're going to have some awkward exchanges on television in the future. These are my thoughts. As you guys know, the Oklahoma City Thunder find themselves down 2-1 in the NBA Finals. And they're now looking to even up the series before going back to OKC. And heading into the playoffs, or throughout this playoff run, rather, people were saying that SGA reminds them of Kobe Bryant. Everybody reminds him of Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. It's unbelievable. The rounds, or 2 rounds before that, it was Anthony Edwards remind him of Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan. And let me just say this. Ant-Man don't remind me of no damn Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, bro. Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan were just two different animals. Like, two totally different animals. He may have some of the things about his temperament and all of that, but those guys, man, they were just supremely gifted. Kobe at Anthony Edwards' point in his career, at the same age, Kobe was in a different universe than him, man. And Michael Jordan, I mean, Jordan came in and averaged 28 as a rookie. So, like, I don't think you can compare these two dudes. But SGA is a big fan of Kobe Bryant. That's his favorite player of all time. So I get that. And I can see some similarities in their game, really in just the mid-range, some of the mannerisms. But overall, as a Kobe Bryant fan, that's my favorite player of all time, whenever I start hearing comparisons to Kobe Bryant, I then really begin to look at the player closely. And I don't really see it. He has some fluidity like Kobe, but the person, if I had to think of like footwork and like moves, I would say it's Kawhi. Kawhi doesn't have the fluidity of Kobe. He doesn't have the flair of Kobe, but the fundamentals, yes, he does. Although Kobe has a wider arsenal in terms of shots and his footwork, he can just get open easier. I've seen Kawhi kind of break down a little bit. If you stay with him, he can kind of not be able to get off a shot and pass the ball out. Whereas Kobe, there's no single defender that can stay with Kobe Bryant ever, right? And he has a counter for every move you do. He can counter one, counter two, counter. I mean, it's just incredible. So apparently, Gary Payton went on Club Shay Shay to talk about basketball. I'm assuming it was after some games. I don't watch Club Shay Shay or these shows anymore. So apparently there was a segment where they brought up this comparison between Kobe Bryant and SGA. And as you guys know, Gary Payton formerly played with Kobe Bryant, but also he mentored him to a certain extent. It was Gary Payton that really helped unlock Kobe Bryant's defensive game. And the minute Gary Payton started explaining things to him, Kobe immediately became an all-first defensive player, like because of some of the stuff that Gary Payton, some of the nuggets of wisdom that Gary Payton imparted to Kobe. So when I clicked on this video to hear what Gary Payton said, not only did he say that there's no comparison, he totally shut down any kind of fake media driven argument that somehow these guys are similar in any kind of way. So we want to do now, I want to play what Gary Payton had to say on Club Shay Shay. Nightcap. And then we're going to come back and continue on with the show. Take a listen to his comments here.
Lou Williams had high praise for SGA today, saying we're looking at Kobe Bryant being created. GP, you played with Kobe at his absolute apex. Is this a good comparison? Too soon?
Nowhere near Kobe, man. There's gonna be one Kobe. That's it. I don't care what y'all say. It's only one Kobe.
Yeah.
Don't y'all compare people to people, and especially somebody like Kobe Bryant. Let Shay be Shay. Yeah, I don't think he Kobe yet. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he ever will be Kobe. He's a great basketball player, but you guys slow down.
Man.
It ain't gonna be no Kobe, no more Kobe.
When I look at Shay, I don't see anything that reminds me of Kobe, honestly.
I'm saying the same thing, Shannon. That's not. I'm being nice.
That's not a knock. That's not a knock on Shay, because I think he's phenomenal. I think we all in agreement. He's phenomenal. He earned the MVP this season. I don't see Kobe. I don't think. Oh, but that's Kobe. I don't see
Kobe was a different beast, Shannon. I'm just telling y'all, it's a different beast. And then we can compare Jordan and Kobe because Kobe tried to be like Jordan. You feel what I'm saying?
I think most of the time when it comes to people, even some of the elite players, some of those with great knowledge of basketball, we become prisoners of the moment. They become prisoners of the moment. Seeing something looks or depicts what we're used to seeing in greatness as Kobe is, the styles and the smoothness, the butter-like style of play is somewhat similar. Being able to get to your shot, get to your midi, and when he rides up, he looked like Kobe a little bit. But SGA has his own style, and the way his approach to the game is completely different. And he's in a class of his own, where the comparison shouldn't even be as great as SGA is.
Right.
So you heard what Gary Payton had to say. What are my thoughts about this? Look, he's correct. He's correct. Kobe was a different animal. It just is what it is. Kobe Bryant was more athletic. He was a better finisher at the rim. He had more shots. He was an all-first NBA caliber defender. If you look at SGA and you look at them at similar points in their career, I don't know what age SGA came into the NBA, but now he's 20. How old is SGA? SGA, no, that's Kobe. SGA right now is 26. Okay? 26 years old. Let's look at Kobe at 26. Let me see. What year was Kobe Bryant 26 years old? So Kobe Bryant was 26 in the 2005-2006 season. Okay? 2004-2005 season. Okay, let's look at what SGA did at the age of 26, which is this year. In the regular season, he averaged 32 points per game on 52% shooting from the field, 37.5% shooting from the floor, from the three, 89%, let's say 90% from the free throw line, while getting you 6.4 assists, 5 rebounds, 1.7 steals, and 2.4 turnovers, and 1 block per game. At 2004-2005 season, Kobe averaged 27 points per game on 43% shooting, 34% shooting, 81.6% shooting from the free throw line, while getting you 5.9 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 turnovers, and 1.3 steals. And in the following season, that's when he averaged 35. The numbers from the regular season, SGA has different numbers. He has better numbers. But what you have to recognize is you have to watch these guys play. And if you watch Kobe play during those seasons, you will see that Kobe Bryant was a totally different player. Kobe, number one, was more skilled offensively. Way more skilled. In year 4 of Kobe's career, right? Meaning his 4th year in the 4th or 5th year in the playoffs, Kobe was averaging 29 points per game on 47% shooting, 82% shooting, 73% from 7.3 rebounds, 6.1 assists, 1.6 steals, while playing with Shaq. And one could only imagine what his numbers would have been had he not been playing with Shaq. SGA is able to get good numbers because of the era that he's in. So it's easier to score them more possessions. When Kobe was playing at that time, teams was averaging under 100 points per game. Now teams are averaging 115. But beyond what their averages are, Kobe is better than SGA at every single facet of basketball. At every single facet. Maybe he's a better free throw shooter than Kobe, but in terms of shooting, shots, finishing at the rim, a post game, footwork, defense, I don't think it's close, bro. I don't think it's close whatsoever. SGA is a very, very good player, but he is his own player. He is SGA. And I think what Gary Payton is saying is, it's getting sickening to constantly be comparing these guys to Michael Jordan. And it's too much now. It's too much. We just did a show about it 3 days ago. This sick obsession that the media has with constantly comparing players to, it's too much. Because in doing so, we become now hypercritical of a guy like SGA or a guy like Anthony Edwards. But if we just let them be and be themselves, then we could appreciate their greatness. But this constant thing of comparing, I think is hurting these guys, man. SGA is a fantastic player, and I'm beginning to really like him. But in terms of saying he's Kobe and all of that, bro, nah, man. If you saw Kobe Bryant play, you would know it's just a totally different thing. Kobe Bryant was ferocious, bro. He was ferocious. Ferocious. But SGA is also incredible. But the comparison thing needs to stop. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comment. And by the way, I think I saw one stupid show where they were trying to have an argument about who has better ball handling skills, SGA or Kobe. Really? Really? Who has better ball handling skills? I get it. Y'all need something to talk about.